so much. Calling me to order at 7:05. Can I get a roll call?
Student trustee Alarcon. Here. Student trustee Umtouch.
I'm here.
Trustee Tahada.
Here.
Trustee Lee.
Here.
Trustee Walker.
Yes.
Vice President Gallegos.
Here.
President Slahuddin.
Here. Before we approve the agenda, can I recommend a change to Superintendent Tony Pressa? Can we move 11A and make it 11D and flip it a D to A? With that change, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Moving on to approval of the minutes. Unless there are any changes, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Moving on, the board met in closed session. There's nothing to report out. And now we get to our recognitions and commendations. And first, we're going to start with the Westmore High School FBLA, which is their Future Business Leaders of America, and turning that over to Superintendent Presta.
Thank you. I think I'm actually turning it over to Mr. Warden.
Okay.
I'd first like to invite up the Westmore FBLA Future Business of a Leaders Advisor, Mr. Ben Pham. All right, before Mr. Pham introduces his members of his team, during the spring break, Westmore High School FBLA, the Future Business Leaders of America, under the leadership of Westmore High School business teacher, Mr. Ben Pham, competed in various business, finance, and information technology pathway events at a state conference held at the Anaheim Convention Center. WHS FBLA students worked diligently to prepare for this competition while competing against 45 other schools from across the state with 3,000 members in attendance. At the end of this competition, Westmore High School students earned 12 different award titles, with 5 students now qualifying to attend the National Leadership Conference in Orlando, and Ryan Cho winning the title of first place state champion for the Introduction to Programming competition. JUHSD congratulates these students on representing the district at the state level. Great job, Westmore FBLA.
Madison Yu. Sean Bray, Jasmine Wong, Ryan Chow, Gotson Yu, Gordon Zhang, I also have some that told me last minute that they could make it, so I also want to acknowledge them as well. Winston Ong, and Daniel Aguilar.
Thank you, Mr. Pham. And we do have certificates for you guys. They're actually in an envelope that I'll pull for you in a minute. All right. So let's give our WHS FBLA one more round of applause.
Thank you. So if you could stick around because we're going to take a photo, but we're going to take a photo with everyone after. Okay, so next up is the May Student of the Month for our Adult Schools program, and I'll turn it over to Principal Mark Bashirs.
Thank you, Principal President Salahuddin, Board of Trustees, Executive Cabinet Superintendent Tony Presta. I am very proud to introduce the May Student of the Month, Angelina Cruz. Angelina Cruz is a student in the district's adult school program. She's the embodiment of what it means to be resilient, focused on her goals no matter what life throws at her way. Angelina is currently enrolled in English studies and our computer basics class. She has remained dedicated to her studies, even while dealing with recent health issues. Because of this, she has become a rallying point for her students who are inspired by her perseverance. Angelina's ESL teacher, who is with us tonight, Audrey Wittig, had this to say about her. I would like to nominate my student, Angelina Cruz. She is an amazing person. She is taking my class and Mike Brust's computer class. She has cancer and is undergoing treatment. She takes chemo pills daily. She is disabled now because of the treatments and uses a walker. She also has some memory issues because of the treatment, which is hard for her since she used to own her own company and be a computer programmer and was involved in electronics. She is very positive and determined. She's here alone in this country. Her two sons call her every day, but they live in different countries. So we have been helping her get supportive services, and my students are cooking meals for her. I feel she has brought the community together, as many people here, staff and students, have been helping her and reaffirming that the adult school is like a family and a wonderful resource for students who need help of any kind. Angelina's computer basics teacher, Mike Brust, had this to say about her. Angelina has a heart of gold and is one of the hardest working students that has ever come to my class. Through all of her hardships, she manages to attend class and try her best to learn and grow every day. I don't think that anything can stand in her way when she puts her mind to it. Looking at Angelina's work ethic is something we can all take note from. She's truly inspiring and a blessing to have gotten to know this semester. I know I can take a note from her book, as she has taught me what it takes to be the best I can be. Angelina's story is emblematic of the students here at the Jefferson Adult School, pursuing opportunities with little regard to the obstacles in the way. As such, she's the perfect representative of the Jefferson Adult School, and we are proud that she's being recognized as the Student of the Month for May.
Did you want to say anything? Yeah, yeah, you can. You can just do, Mark, do you want to just bring the microphone over? Yeah, you could say it.
Sorry, I feel nervous. Yeah. Good evening to our beloved principal, Mark Felsius, Jefferson Union High School and Adult School District Board of Trustees, to all teachers, staff, and fellow students. I would like to thank Teacher Audrey, Mike, Elizabeth, and Twyla, and my fellow classmates for their support, perseverance, and love to me. My teachers treat me and all my classmates as a friend, mean more than I can ever express in words, and understand my shortcomings. Thank you to our high school, Jefferson Union High School and Adult School, to reaffirming the importance of individual effort. It's my honor to be here tonight, to be deeply honored to receive the certificate of appreciation for the student for the month of May. Thank you to all of you for believing my effort. Even I'm facing personal challenges and my health condition. Pray for all of us in Jefferson Union High School and Adult School, a healthy body, mind, and spirit. More success in our life. Thank you.
Okay. So while I get myself together, I'm going to open it up for board comments. Go ahead. I'm going to open up to adult trustees first. Go ahead if you would like to say anything.
Angelina, you're an inspiration. Hello, I'm Rosie Tejada. You're an inspiration. We all have to believe in someone like you. And it makes me, it inspires me to do what I do here up on the board. I had cancer in 2010 and I couldn't work anymore, but you also face, you have to decide what's important to you. And for you, you've been able to persevere because your education is important. And I remember the days when I couldn't, from all the chemo, I could see the word, I could see the object, but the word wouldn't come out of my mouth. Or I'd try to walk and I couldn't feel my feet. But look at you and how many people are inspired by you and love you. And you just make me believe in our district even more. So I'm going to stay in touch with you because you consider me part of your family now.
Trustee Lee.
Angelina, congratulations and much deserved. Very proud of you and the work you've done. And I want to thank Mr. Bashirs and Ms. Whitted and Mr. Brust for nominating you. Well deserved. You are an inspiration to us, and you are, as Trustee Tejada said, you are a reason why I continue to do this work, because we impact lives every day, and we've impacted your life, and you, in turn, are impacting lives of so many around you. So thank you for the inspiration you are to us.
Any of our student trustees? Nope, it's okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say hello. And I don't really have much more to say that they haven't already said, but personally, I just wanted to say that just based off first impression, you seem very sweet and I just hope you keep going and you pursue what you want to do because you deserve it. So, yeah.
Go ahead, Trent. Trustee Walker.
Thanks for being here tonight with us. Thank you, like everyone said, for being an inspiration. It's kind of a special night. You know, we're getting towards the end of the school year. We're in the big room with students, with staff, with the community, with the adult school people, and I think it's appropriate tonight. So thanks very much.
Congratulations, Angelina. On behalf of Jefferson Union High School District and the board and everybody in here, I think we want to send you big hugs and lots of love. And I think the word perseverance might be a little bit of an understatement for what you've done and what you're continuing to do. So keep fighting that good fight. Keep fighting for what you believe in and what you love and inspiring the people around you. You make us all proud. Thank you.
I just want to say quickly to all of the staff of the adult school, thank you so much for creating spaces for everyone and for the work that you do. And to you, you know, it's an honor that we're able to serve you. So I know you're thanking us, but we're honored to do this work and we wish you all well. And I hope that you are on the road to recovery and feeling better soon. Open up to Superintendent Presta.
Recording in progress. There's not much more I can say. But Angelina, I'm very impressed by you and computers and English language. So that's impressive. Through your recovery, still doing all that work is everybody's saying inspirational, but it is very inspirational. And I want to echo what President Salahuddin said. You know, we should be thanking you. You earned this honor. So I hope you can feel that. Thank you. You're great. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you so much. So now we're going to move on to recognize the Terra Nova Special Olympics volunteers. So as a school district, we would like to recognize students from Terra Nova High School's leadership class, cheerleading team, band program, and physical education, PE class teacher assistants for their volunteering for this year's JUHSD Special Olympics held on Terra Nova Bob Lottie Field. That was held on Thursday, April 25th. During this half-day event, these Terra Nova leaders hosted athletic games and activities for students taking part in the district's adaptive physical education program. The district would also like to honor adaptive physical education teacher Eddie Arias for his dedicated planning and hosting of this annual event. We truly appreciate the teachers and amazing students for giving so much of their time and energy at this year's Special Olympics. And I will also say, having a son that participated in Special Olympics when he was at Terra Nova, it means so much to the students and to the parents to see your children celebrated for the day. It can be a very tough road, and life is not fair and challenging. And to have a day where somebody accepts you for who you are and celebrates you just means so much. And so it has just always been one of the things that gives me so much pride as a school board member to see what Terra Nova does in service to Special Olympics. So I'm going to now turn it over to Mr. Warden to help with passing out the certificates.
So we had over 80 students from Terra Nova who volunteered at this event, but tonight we just have a small handful of them. All of those students will get their certificate, but at this time, we are presenting certificates to Destiny Vega Martinez. Come on up, please, when you hear your name called. Katarina Sardo. Yeah, come on up. Alexandra Hedamatis. I'm sure I butchered your last name. I'm so sorry. Yep, come on up. Yep. Haley Augustine. Gabby, say it out loud, Gabby. Joey? Madison Lee. And Sophia Arnest. Give them one more round of applause.
Okay, while they're taking their seats, opening up for board comments.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody that volunteered to do all this hard work. It takes a lot of people to put something like this together, and you know, to use your spare time and, you know, whatever else you had planned to kind of put to the side to help, you know, make this possible. It's really cool, especially for the younger people in our district, to be able to do that is it's pretty cool. It's good to see. So thank you for taking the time to do that.
Anyone else? No? Oh, go ahead. Trustee.
Yeah, to TN students and staff, thank you so much for what you do. I know my kids, when they were at TN, they participated and helped out as well and got a lot out of it. And I know that, again, it exemplifies the spirit of who we are as a community to continue to give back to those who really need the help. So thank you, students and staff.
I also want to thank the students and staff for this incredible event every year. Next year, I will come out. I started a new job, a new position, and I can take the time off. But this has always been a celebratory time, and you make everybody feel so special. And I just think that you really exemplify what makes this yet another reason why we are such an amazing school district.
Thank you. So now we're going to move on to our Employees of the Year recognition and turning it over to our Director of Human Resources, Dana Luan.
Thank you so much. Each year, our staff nominates coworkers who they feel should be recognized as the Certificated Employee of the Year, which we refer to as the Martha Mead Educator of the Year, and the Classified Employee of the Year, which we refer to as the Sue Cook Classified Employee of the Year. In addition, each year, one administrator is recognized as the Administrator of the Year, which is also referred to as the Mike Crilly Administrator of the Year Award. Continuing with the tradition that began in 2017, 2018, this evening, we will recognize the Certificated and Classified Employees of the Year from each site, as well as our Administrator of the Year. To announce our Employees of the Year, we are going to play a video. For our winners, when your name is called, if possible, please stand. Your certificates are going to be provided to your supervisors, who will hand them out to you a little later on. After the video is played, the trustees will share comments, and then we are going to take a picture for pictures and cookies. All right.
That was a lovely video. Opening up for comments from our board. Student trustees first.
I just want to say congratulations to all of you. I know that especially the Terra Nova admin, they are my favorite ever. You guys support so much. And I know all of you at any school support all of your students and make so much more of an impact than you can ever imagine.
I also just want to do a special shout out to Mazee, who's been really awesome during our dance classes.
My bad. Again, they kind of just took the words out of my mouth. So other than that, I just wanted to say, like, shout out to all y'all that are educators and that work in education, because like you guys truly are what like makes and creates the future. So yeah, we appreciate all of you, and yeah, congratulations, y'all.
Dante is a future educator. He's going to Long Beach State next year, majoring in education. So we have a lot of people to look up to here. I know a lot of you. You impact lives. You change lives, and I want to thank you all for all the hard work. It's not always. I mean, you stuck with us. You know, we have to compete with other districts can pay more, but I don't think anyone loves our district more than you do. So I want to thank you so much for everything you do for us up here and for our students, especially, and what you do for each other, because we are a family. Thank you.
Thank you so much for every one of you for impacting the lives of so many students daily, and the care and the love that you have for this community. And Mazee, I see you back there, and I know what you did for my kids. And thank you.
As a former teacher who made it through 3 whole years of teaching teaching math, I congratulate you all. I thank you. I know Ms. Hardig is here, and she's worked with my daughter at Oceana. Thank you very much. I'm sure the rest of you have the same impact on your students, and I think I need to make it to more of our sites. Thank you very much.
Congratulations to all the award winners tonight. Just, from my brief stint here so far as a board member, it's really amazing to kind of see what goes into these schools, with all the educators and all the people involved that take care of our kids, trying to guide them and teach them all the good stuff that they can. But it's also nice to be recognized too. So, and I don't think we show up to work like thinking, we're trying to do this to get an award or to be recognized. We do it, mostly because it's a job, but a lot of us because we love to do it. And, when you shine, and you're being recognized for that tonight. And I appreciate you guys for showing your shine, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
So there is no award or recognition that we can give that can rise to the level of what you give. And I'm aware of that. And that knowledge is what drives me to be the board member that I am, because I'm trying to match the level of give that you give. And the ask is too much at times, and I'm also aware of that. And the sacrifices that you make for other people's students. And I wish that society treated you better. I wish that we lived in a world that could understand and see what I see. And I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. I don't know why. But I cried on commercials, so don't be worried about me. My kids are like, "Oh my God, Mom!" It's a commercial.
It's a good one.
But it's the level of passion that I have for public education. You know, that I watch what's happening in society and I watch how we're treated. And it's reflective of one another. And it's intentional. It's intentional. And that's why I fight back and I fight for you, because this is how we heal society. And so I am so thankful for the work that you do every single day for our staff. And, you know, this is just a piece of paper and acknowledgement, but I hope that you understand that it is reflective of a higher level of appreciation from all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm going to lighten it up a bit and just say, thank you. I have worked in a few school districts, and not to disparage those other school districts, but there's something very special about our school district and the educators and the staff who work here. And I want to thank really everybody everybody in our district, but the people who are being honored tonight, your peers are acknowledging you. Your peers held you up because you give something extra. And so I just want to thank you for that. We know what we do is hard, and it's also super rewarding. And so I hope that you can feel that on a daily basis. And if some days it's hard, especially in the 100 days of May, I hope you're feeling it now. So thank you so much. We really, I mean, I words really fail me, the gratitude that I have for what you give to our students every day. So thank you.
And so with that, we're going to lighten up even more and have cookies. We're going to take a break. There are cookies and coffee in the back. Just another thank you for being here tonight. So with that, we'll take a break. Calling a recess.
Yeah, I don't want to be bored.
All right, bringing us back at 7:55 and moving on to our next item, which is our board report, and starting with our student trustees. And since I can't see who's all the way down.
Okay, so for Terra Nova, we had our Special Olympics about 2 weeks ago. And the following day, we had our second blood drive of the year. And then recently, we had a Women in STEM animal drive. We also had our annual Asian Club Flip Flop annual drive. And
then just today, the yearbooks got distributed. The track, badminton, and softball seasons are ending. Our baseball team is going to CCS, and one sophomore, Gabriella Diogi, is going to CCS for discus. And our club advisory board is or has been underway.
At Jeff, there isn't too much that I know that's going on. I know we recently had prom that came up, and juniors recently took their CASP test. So I know that was a thing, but I do know that we have graduation coming up. So it's getting a little hectic with that. There's finals coming up. Whole big scene going on over there. But yeah.
So I can't believe it's already the end of the school year. It went really fast, but quite eventful. So last Friday, we had the Kent Awards to the San Mateo County School Boards Association. I was the chair of the Kent Awards this year, and it was a really great event. One of the winners of one of the awards was Oceana High School for their partnership with Pie Ranch. And also we honored Melissa Ambrose, our wellness coordinator here in the district, who won the Emily Garfield Award for preventative counseling. And she was nominated by several people throughout the county, not just us. So I was very, very proud of that. And also our student trustee from Westmore, Chloe Chow, who's also the California State Youth Poet Laureate, read 2 of her poems and was just very, very powerful.
All right. I was able to attend the Kent Awards as well, and great work, by the way, Trustee Tejada, on your work for the Kent Awards this past week. Also, I was able to attend a screening or one of the showings of Shrek last week over at Terra Nova, as well as attended the Terra Nova Ed Foundation fundraiser on Saturday night. And it was really great to be around the community that was really excited about raising money for our students.
I've been around a few events, mostly because I'm a parent in the district. I swung through the Oceana prom doing pickup duty. I also went to awards night at Oceana, where students showed some art they've been working on all year. There's some very impressive pieces. I saw Superintendent Festa there, and I thought she was going to part with all of her money. There were some great presentations there, and a bunch of students won awards, which was just heartwarming to see, especially after seeing my daughter go to school with many of you over these years. I'm going to get it. Give me a sec. Oh, I was able to attend the Law Day celebration at Kenyatta College, where they honored students who participated in mock trial this year. So that was a great event. This is the end of the school year, and I encourage everyone to enjoy what's left.
I have nothing to report.
So I attended a couple of different events this year. Since our board meetings. I know we went to the Daly City Chamber. A couple of us went to the Daly City Coleman Chamber of Commerce scholarship awards night, and that was fantastic. And to see so many of our students be recognized. I also went to see Shrek, and just again want to thank Ashley Carcases, Mrs. Z, and Mr. Schneider for all the work that they did, as well as all the students. It was fantastic. Shrek is one of my favorite movies, so it's nice to see it live. I went to the Westmore spring concert, and again, Mrs. Stewart, it's just a revelation what she does with the kids. It was one of the songs that they sang. I just got chills. It was fantastic to hear their rendition, and they're a championship team. I know their choir won a couple of different awards, so congratulations to all of them. And again, I just want to thank every single person in JUHSD for getting us this far through the school year, and it's just a few more days to go. So thank you.
Thank you. I was at many of the events that were just spoken about. The one that I'm going to call out was Shrek, because it was really funny and I really enjoyed myself. And sometimes, you may not believe it, but on a Friday night, I just want to go home and put my pajamas on. And I went on a day that I was very tired, and I think it was like rainy, and I really wasn't looking forward to just being out. And then I was so pleasantly surprised. It was great. And so I just also want to say it's the end of the year, and I know that it's sort of, we're tired, and there's also lots of really fabulous culminating events. So I'm looking forward to those that are to come. And I just want to thank everybody for what you're doing for our kids yet again.
Thank you so much. Are there any subcommittee reports? Nope, hearing none. Moving on to our AFT Local 1481 report. President Casey.
Good evening. The only thing I really want to talk about is that we would like to continue to honor our staff, our classified staff in particular. CFT is having a celebration in Sacramento on May 21st to celebrate our classified. There's no class without classified. And I will be driving one of the seat vans. There's room for 10. I think we have 5 seats filled. So if anyone wants to come, let me know, and we'll drive up together, have some fun at the rally, and then drive home. So it's from 10 to 2. We'll probably leave at about, 7:45 in the morning and be back by 4. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving on to our next item agenda is consent. Unless anyone wants to pull an item, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, so with that approval, we have just approved the hiring of 2 new vice principals. So one is Jose Campos, who I believe couldn't stay because he had his little one with him, and she's adorable. But the other one, and Jose Campos, we welcome to Oceana. And then the other hire is Jonathan Ho from Jefferson, and I believe he's still here. And so congratulations. You're welcome to come up and speak if you would like.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And if you speak into the mic, it's not a microphone in here. It's just so they can hear you on the folks who are watching from home. And then we try to speak a little slowly because it's being translated.
That's very cool. Well, hi, everyone. I'm Jonathan Ho, Mr. Ho to the kids. And I'm really excited to join the district and to join Jefferson High School as a new vice principal. I'll keep this short. Been a career educator with some pretty cool experiences, and I hope to bring a lot of energy and fresh ideas to Jefferson. So to all the students listening, we have something in common. I guarantee it. So my door is always open, and come by and chat. And to all the adults, my door is always open. And so, please come. I really hope to build partnership with you. I'm also really excited to embed myself within the community. So please send me restaurant recommendations and coffee shops. And I'm always happy to grab some coffee after work and talk about crazy ideas that we can do to improve our schools. I hear that Jefferson doesn't quite have a full choir program yet, and maybe that might be something I do something about. But it's an honor to join the team. I really felt a lot of love and connection in the boardroom tonight, and I'm just really excited to be a part of it.
Thank you so much. Welcome. The next item on the agenda is public comment. Public comment is held for those that want to address the board for items that are not on the agenda. If you would like to speak to an item that's not on the agenda, please turn in a blue card now. You will hear your name called out by our board clerk. Once you hear your name called up, please step up to the table here and speak into the mic, again, slowly so that it can be translated. You will only have 3 minutes. Each person has 3 minutes to address the board. Again, on items that are not on the agenda, we are not able to respond. We can only respond per law to items that have been agendized, but this is a time for hear what you have to say. So with that, I will turn it over to Trustee Walker to call the name of the first speaker.
Our first speaker is Aiden Nappy.
Okay. I think it's a Gabby.
Oh.
Is there something in Gabby? They wanted to go first?
Okay, that's good. No, right here. Gabby Diogi.
Thank you. So if you just wait, okay, that you see the timers right there? Okay,
Yeah.
Great.
Right.
So go ahead and start speaking and they'll start when you speak. Yeah.
Good evening, board members. My name is Gabrielle Diogi, a sophomore at Terra Nova High School. I'm on the track team and a part of the discus team. I'm here on behalf of the whole team to gracefully ask that the Terra Nova discus ring will be named after Coach DiMartini with possibly a plaque. As you may know, Coach DiMartini, or Scott, passed away suddenly about a month ago. Coach Scott took on brand new throwers and turned them into league placers and champions. Coach Scott did not only coach us on how to be great in the ring, but outside of it too. No matter what, Scott would come up to practice with a smile on his face, bring us laughter and companionship on the team. He would push us to be the best we could and give us hope for the future because he saw something in everybody. He would make sure everyone had a place in the ring. With Scott, you felt like you were important, someone who could make a difference. The ring will never be the same without Coach Scott. Every day there's a silence that is impossible to fill. Coach Scott was the kind of person that everyone wants to be around. And even if we cannot have Coach Scott with us, we ask that the discus ring be named after him as a reminder of his commitment and goodwill for the Terra Nova track program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jeremy Whitehead.
Good evening, board members. My name is Jeremy Whitehead, and I'm a senior at Terra Nova High School. I'm also requesting that the discus ring at Terra Nova be named after Coach Scott DiMartini. I started track my junior year and was instantly in love with sport, not only for the events, but because Scott brought such an energy that made me want to keep coming back day to day. I've really never had a coach make me want to come back every day as much as Scott did. He was so kind and inspiring with his countless questions about ourselves to get to know us better. Coach Scott had such a unique way of coaching that was so personalized to where he was able to teach everyone one at a time, throw by throw. And I think something like that will nearly be impossible to replace at Terra Nova. I know I would not have been able to succeed in the sport as much as I did without Scott. And after his tragic passing, I was never able to do as well when he was there. Scott has made such an impact on the sport. It would feel wrong for it to continue and that discus ring not have his permanent mark on it for future throwers. Regardless of your decision tonight, that ring will always be touched by Coach Scott and be touched by the memories made by a wonderful man. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Madison Lee.
Good evening, board. My name is Madison Lee, and I am currently a sophomore in the turnover track team. I will keep this brief since all of us are asking for the same thing. So that you please name the discus ring in honor of our late coach, Scott DiMartini. Although I was only on the team for 2 years and known Scott for even less than that, it is undeniable the impact that he has made on us. He was such a positive person, always able to uplift anybody. He never came to practice in a bad mood. And he was the most supportive person I've known. It is important, I believe it is important that we acknowledge the impact that he has made on us, because I truly would not be the same without him. And we all truly miss him, and we please ask you for that. You may do this for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alexandra Predicamatis.
Hi, my name is Alexandra Pericmatis, and I'm a junior at Terra Nova, and I'm part of the track team. And as everyone else, I'm here to ask you guys today to dedicate the TN discus ring after Coach Scott DiMartini. Scott was the best track coach out there, and I've gotten the pleasure to work with him since freshman year when I was the only freshman thrower. He made me feel very welcome, and he was so nice and understanding to me. And he made such an impact and an influence on everybody around him and everyone on the track team. He should have been with us for the last 2 track meets, but he wasn't. And I think he should always be with us in discus ring. It hasn't felt the same without him since. And yeah, I think we should name the discus ring after him. Thank you.
Thank you.
Molly Nappy.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Molly Nappy, and I am a senior at Terra Nova High School. I am also here tonight to ask you that our discus ring be dedicated and named in honor of our late track coach, Coach Scott DiMartini. I joined the track and field team as a sophomore. I knew I wanted to follow in my dad's footsteps and throw shot put and discus in high school, but I knew little to nothing about the sport. When I started track as a timid sophomore who didn't know any other throwers, Coach Scott made me feel welcome and embraced me as a member of the team. Coach Scott was an incredibly kind and inspirational coach. He was always ready to suggest improvements to our throws and cheer us on at our meets. I know he cared for all the throwers because every day he asked us countless questions about our lives and shared memories from his life. If any of us were having a bad day, Coach Scott was there to calm us down and distract us by asking us about our favorite movies and music. I would not be the thrower I am today without Scott's coaching. He will be deeply missed by the track team, and I am very grateful that I got to call him a coach. Once again, I am here to ask for approval that the discus ring be named and dedicated after Scott. I know that the throwing program will never be the same without him, but this small gesture will allow his memory to live on for all future throwers. No matter what your decision is tonight, the discus ring will always be Scott's ring forever. Thank you.
Thank you.
Aiden Nappy.
Good evening, board members. I would like to also dedicate the discus ring to our beloved coach, Scott DiMartini, in his honor. I started this summer for track and field. I met him as a coach, and he really wanted me to start throwing discus. I didn't think I could do it, but he inspired me so much that I started throwing, and I made it throughout the year. By throw, I always improved myself with his help. I was able to throw a discus even further every time and every day that I was coached by him. He had a huge impact on my life, as I remember all the jokes that we would make together and the conversations that we had in the discus ring. Having the discus ring named after Scott in his honor would mean a lot to the entire track team and also the board of coaches. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We no longer have any blue cards. So unless anyone else wants to turn in one, we're going to move on. Next item on the agenda is our discussion items. First up from Education Services as our adult programs update. Turn it over to our Deputy Superintendent, Kareen Baca.
Good evening, President Salahuddin. Good evening, members of the board. Tonight, I would like to welcome Principal Bashirs, who will provide us with updates on the adult programs. Mr. Bashirs, welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Baca. Again, hello, President Salahuddin, Board of Trustees, Executive Cabinet, Superintendent Presta. Thank you for this opportunity to provide you with some updates on the Jefferson Adult Division. Am I in control of this thing over here? Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Hey, look at that working over there. All right. So as you know, we're two programs in one. We're the Jefferson Adult Education, where we provide ESL. We're also, a diploma, high school equivalency, some CTE coursework and enrichment classes. But we're also the adult transition program. These are life skills, functional academics, work training, community-based instruction of students that are coming out of Oceana usually and Terra Nova from the life skills programs there. At the adult transition program, the four main areas of focus: life skills, functional academics, job training, which you guys honored Ms. Emily Hansen tonight. She's instrumental in that, as well as community-based instruction. That's kind of, it's always been something that we've done, but we took a special focus on it this year, which I'll talk a little bit about. When we talk about academic rotation, what we want is we wanted to continue, academic progress with the students when they come to us, looking at functional math, balancing a checkbook, being able to round up to the next dollar when we're shopping, science and health, language skills, as well as civics. Work training, we want our students to be able to come out with some job skills, practice doing interviews, as well as, finding jobs. The community-based instruction, CBI provides ATP students with interactive community experiences. They're learning how to get on public transportation. In fact, I was at an IEP today for a student that, she's doesn't see very well, and she's having to learn how to use the cane. And just to be able to develop the confidence to be able to remind the bus driver, you need to lower that ramp for me, are things that she's learned, while she's been with us. Students also, they spend time going to the library, checking out books, visiting the farmer's market, and a bunch of exciting field trips. I mentioned it in my board update last week. We really benefit this year from having Laura Uri out there. She takes our students out. She takes a class out 4 days a week. I don't know how she does it. I went out with them just this past Friday, on a trip out to Chinatown. As I mentioned, she's awesome. Did I win at something?
You know what that is?
So
Calling us?
I get it. No, I understand.
Oh, the time's up.
Oh my.
That's my 3 minutes. Thank you. Mic drop.
Sorry about that. We're sorry.
But really, I was thinking about all the different animal skills that Laura Uri brings in. For one, she's a sheepdog. She is protecting all of those kids. She had her, and like an owl, her head was on a swivel, but she was looking for any hazard that might come, our way while we were out there. Speaking of owls, she has that wisdom too. She was explaining to students in terms they could understand something about the history of Chinatown, including the Chinese Exclusion Act. It was really fascinating watching her work, and she's always, you can tell she's always thinking about the students' best interest while she's out there and providing experiences that are very valuable for them. We also like to provide enrichment opportunities. Just last Friday, I received the framed artwork, Rosie, from the Creativity Explored exhibition. Our students were out there. Creativity Explored came out for 3 weeks. They would come out here on Wednesdays. We would go to them on Saturdays. I was looking forward to each Saturday because each time I was out there, I felt like I got to know the students even better. just to see, particularly like, we had nonverbal students out there that were, creating artwork, and you're like, I'm getting a look inside this kid's head, and understanding in ways that I didn't before. On Friday, the framed works that they had there, Creativity Explored donated those to us to hang up in the new building. And I can't wait to put those on display in our office and in our hallways. That's some of the artwork of one of our students right there. It's a couple of kids enjoying the experience out there at Creativity Explored. And of course, we work with, like, the student that you met tonight that you guys honored, which, by the way, thank you so much for that. We offer the ESL program out there. Our students come from around the world. I did a presentation recently with in here where I was using these translation devices. Students could come in with their cell phones. They scan a QR code, and then they're able to. It was like me speaking with subtitles. They could just read along on the cell phone, as I was speaking in their language. No extra app to download. You just click on it and click your language, and you're good to go. Well, I was showing them. I was talking about the move and making sure they understand. Hey, we're going to be in a new building next year, and here's how you'll find your way there and all that. Well, a student came up to me afterwards, and one of my office staff translated for her, and and she said to us, she said, we come from all around the world where we don't have opportunities like this, and if it wasn't for this district, we don't know if we would ever find an opportunity like that. And that's the kind of student we meet through our ESL program, and I'm glad that they draw students to us. As you know, we have our program here. We have our program at Jefferson High School. We're also at War Memorial and our second home. This year, we added an online program, and that came because Ms. Roz Carney, my admin assistant, was at a Safeway, and she was looking for some cake mix and asked one of the ladies there if she could, where she would find it. The woman said, I don't speak English. Well, Roz speaks Spanish. So she started talking to her in Spanish and said, well, why don't you come on out to our school? So the woman teared up and said, I don't know what my schedule is from week to week. And she came back and she told me that story. And it was like, this is why we need the online program. And, students can join the online class if their work schedule changes. They just switch to that evening class. They've got an opportunity, every day of the week to be able to attend class. And that's a new thing we did this year. And the demand for it has been growing. Of course, we do our adult school diploma, high school equivalency. Students can attend in person or online because, again, most of these students are working. We offer the GED. We offer the adult school diploma, transition services provided by Twyla Faye Eva. She does an awesome job. And we added adult basic education mathematics this year. We'll be adding ABE language next year. And we're also, I believe I mentioned it in my board update, we're also going to be offering the high set, just another opportunity for some students. They prefer that format. It's recognized just like the GED is. And so we wanted to provide that for our students. They offer that over at South San Francisco. So we figured if it's good enough for them, good enough for us. And we have our career and technical training, an office assistant class. Our man, over there, Mike Brust, that he teaches, it's actually more morphed into a Microsoft Office class, hasn't it? And he's got a group of dedicated students. Again, you honored one earlier this evening, and business communication. But we're moving into a bunch of new CTE offerings for next year. We'll be providing another intro to computer basics class. That's to feed into the NetX program that we do in conjunction with Skyline for people that are interested in getting into IT, but that'll be an option for them. We're also going to be offering a cybersecurity class. And while we're at it, we're looking at childhood education. One of our online teachers, Karina Diaz, she had created a curriculum that she's already gotten approved, and we're looking to offer that online. One of the things we're interested in is creating bilingual paras that could possibly come and work here in our own district. We know Dr. Robinson looks for them all the time. So we're hoping that could be, that could work there. Let's see. And then, of course, like I've talked before, the NetX program that a couple of wonderful professors from Skyline teach out of a portable there at Westmore High School, and it's been extremely popular over there. And yeah, these were the ones I was mentioning at the next board meeting. We'll be submitting these courses for your approval. And along with the CTE courses we offer, we also partner with local agencies like the Renaissance Center and Job Train to provide training and placement for our students. And we can't forget our enrichment opportunities. You know, Sherry Shagoyan over at Westmore High School offers an amazing ceramics class. She has achieved a sort of a cult-like status over there. The people that go to that class, I mean, they're fighting for spots in there. There are no empty seats in that class. John Levine came back to us this spring to start doing his wood skills in the evening. JR, you know, from Terra Nova, he teaches Spanish over at Jefferson in the evenings. And we also have an adult school band, which Jill Hendricks, it's briefly on hiatus. She is retiring from her job over at Washington. So she'll have to take a little break, but she's going to come back in the spring and start teaching that program again, which is amazing. We have student musicians from age 18 all the way to 80 in there. And it's wonderful to watch. We offer counseling, transition navigator, wellness counselor. We try to provide these services for our students as well. Goal setting, connecting with college and career, connecting with service and wellness support. And we've really appreciated having Ms. Sai So working for us this year. With very close ties with Skyline College, dual enrollment courses, and then also Skyline's been doing what they call the Neighborhood Center over at Jefferson High School. Once a month, they come out there. They'll provide a presentation on some of their different programs, but they also feed our students, you know, a nice hot meal, which, you know, a lot of them, they're hitting the vending machines and going to class at night, and that's their dinner. So it's really nice when they come out and do that for us. We also appreciate that there are a number of district resources that the principals at different schools have opened up to us. Chrissy Lewis is very interested in opening up a digital arts lab. Of course, the newly renovated auto shop at Westmore High School, we're looking to take advantage of that. Not quite sure, but, you know, with the two state-of-the-art theaters over at Westmore and Terra Nova, that there might be room to look at some sound reinforcement, you know, theatrical production. You know, there's a lot of jobs like that in the city. And of course, we thoroughly enjoy having access to the newly renovated wood shop over at Westmore High School. You guys have seen that picture before. We're thrilled to be moving in there, and you know, it's a testament, you know, to the hard work you guys have done and the care and attention that you pay upon the adult school and the value that it brings to the district. I think that's it. You need to get in touch with me.
Thank you. Opening it up to any questions or comments. Nope. Go Trustee Lee.
Mr. Bashir, I continue to be just amazed and inspired by the work you and your team are doing, you know, as evidenced by our Student of the Month tonight, but also just, you know, the breadth and depth of the offerings we have now for our community. You know, a couple of years back, before we did the new DO and adult education, we were just trying to let the neighborhood know what was coming on that site. And as we were doing some door knocking in the neighborhood, I remember speaking to several of the neighbors who said, "What, adult education's moving here? I'm going to have to sign up for some classes." So I think, you know, I think we'll pick up a few students from the neighborhood too when we open up over there. So continue to do the good work, and thank you so much for this update. It's just amazing to see what we're doing.
So you talked about so much ESL programs, different locations, and there's a new spot for the DO and for the adult school. And you shouted out so many of your teachers, talked about this field trip, quite a presentation. And all I can think about is, can I get down on this adult band?
Oh, yeah.
So anyhow, congratulations. These things, folks, do not happen by accident. So thanks for your work to make it happen.
I'd just like to thank you again for sticking with our district for as long as you have and taking on different hats, starting as a student teacher here and just working through, you know, you were vice principal. When you were principal at Jefferson, my daughter was really sad you were leaving. But because I know how much you meant to those kids. But here at adult education, you're making such a difference. And you're always finding ways for more opportunities for bigger parts of our community. And you really know our community. That's what I love. And you continue to try to know more about our community and to understand that you have to, that you were offering now online classes so that we can reach more people. It's fantastic. I'm so overjoyed that you're going to finally have a nice place and that our students are really going to, they deserve to have a nice new building with windows.
Windows. That's a novel concept right there. Yeah.
My gosh, I just want to be there the first day they come in. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the presentation, Mark. Just really proud of all the things I continue to hear about our district and what we do to include everybody. Inclusivity is very important, especially with our adult transition and our everybody that you help with your educational program and all the people that go into making that happen. You just tell you put your heart into it, and that's just a continued theme that I see with all the educators and the people that are involved with our school district, and just makes me proud to really be part of that. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
I echo the comments. I have some questions, but I didn't send them in advance, so it's okay to send them to me afterwards. You don't know. But first, can you talk a little bit about the difference between GED and the other program that you talked about?
Oh, HiSET?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just it's a different test. The format is more multiple choice. They cover the exact same subjects. GED has 4 different tests. HiSET has 5. They just, break up a couple of sections. But otherwise, they're recognized in all the same, places. Yeah, it's, really GED is brand recognition. They've been around longer. Honestly, there are some questions that, my GED team has brought up about the test in terms of its accessibility for English learners.
The HiSET or the GED?
The GED test. The HiSET, on the other hand, and then, they were the ones that, said, hey, look, South San Francisco is doing it. Why aren't we? Because they do believe that for the English learner that after they finish their classes and they start working there, that test is going to be more accessible to them.
So, and the reason why I ask, I know the GED has become more inaccessible for a variety of reasons, especially they changed the test rigor to where it's extremely hard to pass. Yeah. And so I am, I would like to stay informed on this new test and get a little bit of information about the accessibility. If it easier for people who English is not their first language and other areas where it could be easier to use. There's no reason to stay with GED if it's not something that's going to be functional for students.
Yeah.
And then if possible, can we get the percentage of our students that took the GED test in the adult program and the passage rate? No. If I can have that sent to us, or I can put in a Friday packet. And then the last question I had was on funding, because I know your funded is different than most of our other schools. Okay. And talking about the current economic issues that the state is currently going through, can you talk about how it's going to affect the adult school program?
The governor's been good to us. We're still waiting for the May revise, obviously, but the funding held stable this year and promises to be stable again next year, but not much of a COLA increase. So, and then the other big change comes with the carryover. I've been able to push our carryover since I got here, and because the consortium and our consortium director, Dr. Corinne Holder Jackson, She really supported me on this, but the other adult school directors had no issues with it. They knew we were moving into a new building. They knew that there were going to be, some other expenses. So I pushed like, let me hang on to this. But, starting, next year, really, the consortium's not able to carry more than a 20% carryover, which is pretty generous. But that means that, no one school can carry too much, because then that would impact what another school can carry over. So, with Stephanie and Tina's help, we have figured out how we're spending down that carryover, so that, one, I'm not giving anything back, but that we've also got a nice cushion, if the revise comes back not in our favor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then last is just another ask about, I do feel like the program is amazing, but I feel like this building is a barrier to people coming into the program. So it'd be nice to track the difference in enrollment once we move into the new program.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes, we have certainly we have plans for that. And what you talk about is right on the money. Whenever Lee or Grace would bring parents to me to, because they were considering whether or not to send their children here. First thing I'd do is I'd bring them into my office. I'd have those windows wide open, let the sunlight in, and I would start by showing them pictures, the artist rendering of what our new building was like. And I'd say, I showed you that just so that, when you go see, what our facilities look like, what we're aspiring towards. That being said, I've got to give, and really for anything that our program does, who's on the front line? It's your teachers, it's your office staff. It's, the classified people working for you. Taking parents around, the way that they're treated when they walk into the office, when they go and they see the classroom that, say, Danielle Messer has put together, they're able to see, really what the heart is in the classrooms there. But just doing that presentation for the adult ed students and letting them see what that is going to look like, I think that's going to be very impactful. The big thing, and we're working on it, is making sure the word gets out, that people know where they can find this. This is, everybody's known where Serramonte Del Rey is for so long, and Austin's been working with Sam Trans and making sure that, we can get our students out there and get them into classes. But yeah, we'll definitely track that,
Yeah. And again, thank you so much, and to all of the staff at the adult program. Extremely grateful tonight. It was very moving. You could tell I was a mess. So thank you all for the work that you did.
Thank you. I'm going to say a couple of things. First off, Mark, Mr. Bashirs, when we decided to kind of meld adult school and adult transition and move to a new paradigm, a new model of having a principal of those programs, that could have gone well and it could have not gone well. And I know that you being the principal has made all the difference. And I thank you because you embrace both programs. It's kind of, there are two different things going on at any given time, and you're there for all of it. So I want to thank you for that. I see you in the hallways every single day, loving on those students. And that makes me very happy. And I know that you have a focus on instruction with the instructional rounds, moving the paras in different rooms, having people learning about the different programs, not getting stuck in one. That has made a very big difference to the program. And I thank you for that. And with the adult school, I want to thank you for just keeping your eye on what adults in our community need and want. So just want to give you a compliment. Thank you.
I really appreciate that. As you know, it was when I found out that the district wanted to combine those programs, knowing that ATP, was going to be something that I got to work with. That was a huge selling point for me. It was a student population I really, really wanted to work with. And it's been extremely gratifying. But what we're really looking forward to, we've tried to do it as much as we can here, but when we get into a new building, we really are creating a new family.
Yep.
I want my ATP teachers to get to know my adult teachers. I want them to feed off of each other. But also we've talked a lot about how can we use that space for good community things that, our students can get together and enjoy one another's company, So yeah, we're looking forward to that.
We're all very excited. Thank you.
I know it's going to involve dancing, and they all love karaoke too. So all
nice. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Moving on to our next item on the agenda is the JUHSD Ethnic Studies update. Turning it back over to Deputy Superintendent Baca.
Hello again. This is one of two of Ms. Ziauddin's presentation. So the first one is on ethnic studies, and Mr. Arzaga will be joining her today to provide you with updates on our ethnic studies program. And we're adding 2 more chairs.
Yeah, just.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Asra Ziauddin, and I'm the teacher on special assignment for social sciences and ethnic studies. I also teach one course on ethnic studies at Westmore High School, and then I'll allow my partner here to introduce himself.
Good evening, board. I am Dan Arzaga, currently Humanities 9 ethnic studies teacher at Oceana High School, and incoming TOSA diversity, equity, inclusion, and ethnic studies.
And so Dan and I, we are going to try and keep our part of the presentation brief. So we wanted to talk about half the time because we have 2 lovely students with us, and they're going to talk about half the time as well about their experiences in the course. But we'll go ahead and start. And so what I wanted to highlight in the beginning is that in general for ethnic studies in our district, we have continued our partnership with Community Responsive Education, also known as CRE, and Dr. Allison Tintiago Cabales for our 3rd year. So we have quite a bit of collaboration going around for our ethnic studies program. In our partnership, we've had professional development sessions occurring at the district level for administrators, educators teaching the ethnic studies course, and educators from any department hoping to develop their ethnic studies lens. And in that way, they can apply it to their respective departments. We are also continuing to foster connections outside JUHSD. We're active participants in ethnic studies spaces facilitated by San Mateo County. That occurred in February this year. It's actually going to happen again in the summer and then also next year, a couple sessions. That's a place where we actually had a chance to collaborate with other districts throughout San Mateo County. We are still communicating with one of the districts we partnered with early, San Mateo Union High School District. We had a day last year. We actually shadowed and then saw Capuchino High School and their program. So we're still in communication with the folks there. And this year we began meeting more formally with Jefferson Elementary School District to really understand how they integrate ethnic studies at the K-8 levels.
Okay, scope and sequence. Unit 1, the personal narrative Pechakuchatan project during Unit 1 has students sharing what life experiences have shaped them and their family. It is also an exploration of identity, their hopes and dreams, and their sense of belonging to a community. In Unit 2, Systems of Oppression, an example of something the students would explore is the racial wealth gap. Historical examples that students explore in Unit 3, social movements and solidarity, are the Black Panther Party and the 1968 student strike at San Francisco State University, which ultimately led to ethnic studies courses. There's so much good content and learning that goes on in those first 3 units that getting to Unit 4 so far has proved to be challenging. So most ethnic studies have not been able to figure out calendaring our curriculum in such a way that leaves time to do some sort of community collaboration project. But it's only year 2. So in the coming years, we aspire to do so.
On this slide is a snapshot of the first 3 weeks that I personally planned for the semester-long 9th grade ethnic studies course I teach. My intention in having this here is to just give you more clarification on what goes on in the classes. I know Mr. Arzaga explained somewhat of some of the sample activities that go on in each unit. So in these first 3 weeks, even my colleagues at my own site, Westmore High School, they may be doing something a little bit different from myself. The other school districts who have ethnic studies courses, of course, might be also doing something different. So again, I just offer that this is something that I have planned personally. I structured the course in an intentional way. Students engage in many community building activities, like sharing the story behind their names in weeks 1 and 2. They also learn about other cultural philosophies, like the Mayan concept of Inlakesh, the Hawaiian worldview of aloha, the Filipino ideal of kapwa, and indigenous ideas around interconnectedness. Various types of resources are used, like excerpts from the book, A Different Mirror, relevant episodes of certain TV shows, video clips, texts, and more. I hope this illustrates how ethnic studies classes are anchored in student dialogue and exposure to a variety of cultural heritages, in addition to exploring one's identity.
Okay, the 4 Eyes of Oppression. 4 Eyes of Oppression is one of those anchoring frameworks for us. It is useful in having class discussions about the students' own experiences, but also like when it comes to particular films, series, or readings. So for example, a series that really resonated with all the students is the Netflix series Colin in Black and White, which chronicles the shaping of Colin Kaepernick's ethnic identity during his high school years while being raised by white adoptive parents in mostly white Turlock, California. And so in one episode, Colin struggles against interpersonal oppression in the form of microaggressions by hotel employees while he and his family traveled to summer baseball tournaments.
I also wanted to showcase how our district has fostered pretty strong connections with San Francisco State University as well. So just last week, last Monday particularly, over 200 ethnic studies students from across our schools visited the college campus in our district's first Ethnic Studies Summit. Opening sessions included remarks by Provost Amy Suyoshi, Dean Grace Yu, and Dr. Alison Santiago Cabales. Students heard reflections from past San Francisco State students who went on strike to advocate for the Ethnic Studies Department in 2016. Then students attended one of 3 breakout sessions. And as you see here, that's the whole group. And that was a very nice, exciting day. High stress, but exciting. And what we'll do now is introduce our student speakers. Like I said, we wanted to give them a decent amount of time to talk about their experiences in these courses. And so one student with us here is Janine Manzana. She's from Jefferson High School and is an 11th grader currently, took this course actually in the fall semester.
And then we have Edwin Duarte Guerra from Oceana High School, 9th grader. And he's currently going through ethnic studies. At Oceana, we have a year-long course.
And so we'll start with this question for both Edwin and Janine, and then perhaps Edwin, you can answer first, or however you want to go about answering it. But what were some of your biggest takeaways after being in an ethnic studies class, or even if you're currently in it?
Hi, my name is Janine, as Miss C said, and I'm currently a teacher. Sorry.
All right.
Maybe soon. Yeah. Maybe I'll be here next. Okay, but I'm a student at Jeff, and I just wanted to talk about one of my biggest takeaways. Well, some of my biggest takeaways in being in an ethnics class. And one of my biggest takeaways in ethnic studies is learning how to love my culture and to accept the good, bad, and the ugly that comes with it. To me, being Filipino used to be a bad thing. The Filipinos were loud, their food was nasty, and that you had to be light-skinned to look beautiful. During ethnics, I learned that what I was feeling was actually called internalized oppression, as some of the teachers talked about right now. And while I had already slowly been on my journey to embracing my Filipino culture, ethnic studies and the realization of my internalized oppression definitely helped. Now I love being loud. I love my food. I mean, hello, like, have you ever tried Filipino food? Not to be biased, but like one of the best cultures with like good food. Anyways, back to the point. Ethnics taught me to love myself and my culture, and I hope that it can help others like it helped me. Because when people say ethnic studies saved them, they weren't lying, and I myself can preach for that statement.
Hello, my name is Edwin Norte. I go to Oceana. I'm currently in ethnic studies class right now. So some of my biggest takeaways from being in ethnic studies class, in ethnic studies class is the gender wage gap, where one gender gets paid more. So I've learned more about that and how unfair it is. The whitewashing of MLK's legacy and how it was stripped from being from its true meaning. So we got to see like the truth and more meanings about MLK's speeches and what he really did. And my last takeaway is how we learned about the modes of resistance. Some examples are direct action, cultural activism, and nationalism.
Okay, and in your opinion, what is the future of ethnic studies at our schools, and what do you hope for?
When I think of the future of ethnics, I think of it expanding to other classes like English and history, especially in history, since we already learned about many oppressions throughout history. I think that we would understand it more if we were to dive into those deeper and like really identify what forms of oppression is happening. And specifically for Jeff, since we do a 4x4 schedule, I'm hoping that one day students will be able to take like an ethnic studies 2 course, just so like maybe like the unit 4 that a lot of teachers can't get to can be finally explored in that ethnic studies 2. And like I accidentally said before, when I see the future of ethnic studies, I see myself teaching it. And like I've always wanted to be a teacher, but I never was really good at like one single subject until like I accidentally stumbled into an ethnic studies class. And like something just clicked in me and I saw myself like where my teacher was, and I wanted to be like them, where they could inspire kids like me to finally like love their culture and like see themselves where they should be.
For me, I kind of said the same thing. I would like more ethnic studies classes. I mean, like not to brag, but Mr. Salve is a really good teacher. And yeah, like to see more classes. And for me, like for the future of ethnic studies, like I feel like after we get out of school, we could really use this for if we want to like, sorry, I say like a lot, but like if we want to do a protest for something that's unfair or untreated, or just like fight for freedom, I feel like we could take a lot from ethnic studies and we could use a lot of examples like what Martin Luther King did, or, you know, we could take a different path with the Black Panther Party. So there's a lot of examples from that class. I hope to see more classes, like I said, more summits too, because that summit was a really good summit. I've got to learn more. I got to meet a lot of new people too. And yeah, just more about ethnic studies.
I just want to thank our student speakers. I do want to open it up in case people did have questions either for them or us. So thank you again for listening to our presentation.
Thank you so much. I'm opening it up to my board colleagues if they have any comments or questions.
Sure. I'll start. I was struck by the 4 eyes of oppression slide, and I'm just really curious, actually, which external courses are actually starting to use that framework?
That is a great question. So last year, we actually started with some teams of English teachers. So actually, there's certain English teachers that have committed to try to work in the 4 eyes of oppression when they teach certain novels, perhaps. And so that's starting. And then the place I previously mentioned that it's also occurring, it's a little less coordinated, but this year it was just open to any teacher, again, cross department. It could have been, we had actually a teacher represented for math, science, PE, art, more English, I believe, also humanities still. So a lot of these folks are trying to understand the 4 eyes of oppression and then figure out if they can use something like that, or perhaps other rituals for community building, even those sort of practices in their courses. So if it's not necessarily 4 eyes, it might be some other practices that come from ethnic studies.
That's powerful. I mean, you know, the fact that it's starting, that the culture of it is starting to become embedded in other coursework. That's great.
Yeah, and so, for example, at Oceana, one thing we're trying to think about in humanities is thinking vertically. So for the ninth graders going on to 10th grade teachers knowing they've been exposed to 4 eyes of oppression and the different ethnic studies lenses, is how could we continue to use some of those same maybe essential questions and themes in the 10th grade world history portion of humanities. And then the 11th grade US history, humanities 11 US history, it had already been using some of these lenses, but now to use them much more intentionally and knowing the students have had exposure to those concepts.
That's great. Thank you very much. And to the students, there's nothing I can say here because your testimony really just says it all. Thank you for your bravery and sharing your experience and what this program has done for your education and the way your eyes have been opened up to really caring about your own education and taking control of it. That's really powerful testimony. Thank you.
So, Ms. Zowden, you were my daughter's AP World History teacher, and I remember coming to back to school night, and the first thing you said is, "I am so sorry that it's very Eurocentric that we're teaching in here, but that's the curriculum." And yeah, and when I learned world history, they teach you that it's so fascinating, But as to Jean, is it? Janine?
Yeah.
Yeah. What you said about what your key takeaway that you learned to love your culture. I know how that feels. And I always thought I was too dark or I wasn't Filipino enough. And I had that, you said it was self-oppression?
It was internalized oppression.
Internalized oppression. And I learned that it was like a self-hatred. And I didn't learn about that, to think that way, until I was a student, an adult student, like in my 20s, my late 20s at SF State. And I'm just glad that we're teaching this now, because we are such a diverse community. And I think students now are exposed to so much. There's so much. And the pandemic did not help at all. And that everything that you shared about which you got from ethnic studies just reinforces why it's so important for us to be teaching this. And that it should, and I think, the board here, when we decided we wanted, well, it's going to be mandatory to take ethnic studies, but we didn't want it to be a check the box kind of thing. And you knew that when you started working on this, that we wanted it to be embedded in every class. So my question is, the collab time that you have with other teachers, is any of it targeted toward ethnic studies, or does it just you just end up talking about it? Or do you reach out to your colleagues, or do they come to you?
So the collaboration time is really structured. They're actually release days. So it's actually days where we're partnering with community responsive education. And so they send usually for about half the day particular professionals, which they're all either professors of ethnic studies, they've taught it in classrooms for years perhaps, or other folks who advise at the college level. And so they do workshops with us. So sometimes it's on particular lessons or frameworks like those 4 eyes in the beginning. Or other times it might be ways that they're giving feedback on our lessons. So we actually share projects perhaps or lessons or ideas. And then we also have some feedback roundtables. So we've done a couple sessions like that. Other times it might be at least once or twice we had a speaker. So someone has come to illuminate us, on certain topics relevant to ethnic studies. And I think sometimes our last session actually we ended with was actually even envisioning and brainstorming for the future. So we reflected on what has occurred, and then challenges as well as accomplishments, and then what we'd like to do in the future. So it's all very structured. And then there's usually some sort of theme. Yeah, every time we do a session.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I wanted to thank Edwin and Janine for their feedback and being brave and sitting up there and telling us how you guys feel about this, because it's really important, obviously, but it's also a very delicate topic, when we're discussing ethnics, and with as many ethnicities as we deal with in the Bay Area, California, the United States. It's important to get involved in that. And I like the fact that you guys are doing connecting with the elementary school too, and seeing what they're doing at the younger ages, because I think that's really where it needs to start personally, before they become older and kind of more jaded by their own ideals and whatever they've been taught. I was just curious, do you guys get any feedback from parents that know about the studies program or anything like that, and how they feel about it, or have we seen any of that?
My experience has only been positive feedback.
Yeah.
I haven't received in the 2 years I've been teaching it any resistance against it.
That's good.
Yeah, mine has also been similar. It's usually either just curiosity, so questions.
Yeah.
Is this something maybe new that they haven't quite studied themselves, or something where they're like, oh, my student said so-and-so, that's cool. They're talking about this at home.
Yeah.
And then I think every now and then there might be one parent who's concerned about certain topics, but those discussions we've had with certain admin and they've turned out fine. So I think mostly I agree it's been positive to neutral.
It's good. Awesome. I hope it stays that way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Trustee Walker.
Thank you. Janine and Edwin, thanks for sharing with us tonight. And I'm trying not to repeat things. This conversation rings of empowerment to me. I hear mature themes just in the short bit of sharing that we did. I hear students talking about the future, talking about possible job opportunities, expanding the curriculum, speaking with power about culture and about each other and themselves. So I'm in awe. Thank you.
I have one question. So for Dan, the year-long class, you haven't been able to get through all 4 sections either?
Well, because it's humanities, so it is like a combination of English and ethnic studies.
I see.
So, like we read novels and that, and then we do try to connect it as best we can to the ethnic studies content, but it does take time. So.
And then for Oceania for Humanities in the house section, is it carried over a little bit in the 10th grade or?
So I taught ethnic studies last year. I teach humanities 10 also this year. So I did carry over with one of my classes to the 10th grade. And so things like the 4 eyes of oppression, institutional oppression, those things I can always refer back to them, and the students will know what I'm talking about. So that's a really good thing. And so yeah, we've been trying to be more conscious about that, how we could use that and re-triggering the memories of those concepts.
And for the students, first, thank you so much for staying up with us this late. I know it went a little long. So my questions for you first are, I know the questions that you answered here were fantastic. Like, what was your biggest takeaway or the thing that you learned in the class that is kind of resonating the most?
I think just one of the biggest takeaways in that class is like, don't be afraid to talk about like stuff that seems taboo, like oppression and it's like how you feel about your culture and stuff. Because I feel like it's important to talk about those things, especially in a community sense, because a lot of the time what you're feeling yourself, you think you're the only person feeling that. But if you would just talk to someone else, you would see that like this person is feeling something similar or like even the same thing as you. So I think like the community building part and like just being able to talk about like whatever you really want to when it comes to ethnic studies is like a really big thing for me.
Yeah, like what you said, like community. And I've definitely learned a lot of new things this year because my middle school that I went to, Ben Franklin, we did not have an ethnic studies class. So I feel like I've got to learn more. And like with the community too, like I've learned stuff about other communities that I've never known before. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, but I really can't because I got really nervous for this. But
It's okay.
yeah, it's just I've got to learn so much more things about other people I've never knew before. And I feel like that really has helped me with like other people. So I feel like I could ask like kindly about their cultures and just to explore more. So yeah.
Thank you. I just also want to say, you know, this is one of the things that I'm the most proud of. I know there's a lot of attention that's given to us for our housing, and that's great, but what's happening inside the classrooms is one of my priority, you know, my top priority. And it shouldn't be a controversial thing to learn about yourself. And this is not a subtraction sum game. You know, we're not taking away from someone else to learn about ourselves. We're learning about ourselves so that we can learn about others. You know, when you travel and you go to another country, the loss that you feel the moment you're taken out of the space that is most familiar to you. And as soon as you find someone that's from your country, it doesn't matter where they're from, you automatically are gravitated them, you talk to them. So then to imagine having your whole educational career feeling like you're in something foreign and there's nothing for you to connect or gravitate to, but the expectations are you are the same. And we should be uplifting, building foundational educational spaces where the priority is to first learn about who you are so that you can be empowered to know what you're capable of. And just hearing from the students and hearing their stories and hearing how the strength that you gain from education of self. So I'm proud of the work that we're doing. I hope that we can continue to expand. We should have reflective educational spaces in all of our classrooms. So I know that we are doing this very thoughtfully because it is, it's something that needs to be taken with care, but I still also ask for the continued push forward to do Janine's request where you see yourselves in every space, that we don't have to talk about a study of something that's compartmentalized. It's in every classroom. So thank you so much for all of your work, Azra and Dan, and everyone else on your team in doing this and piloting this. And I'm very excited to see where we move next.
Thank you. I'm going to be brief because it's late. I'm going to say a couple of things. First of all, so crazy proud of all of the educators in all of our schools that are doing this great work. Thank you too for presenting tonight. The summit at San Francisco State was amazing. I'm so glad I got to experience even a couple of hours of it. Thank you. And Edwin and Janine, right? I wrote your names down. I don't have it in front of me. Am I right? Thank you for being here. You know, we get to hear a lot of adults talk at these meetings, and I really love when we get to hear from you students. So thank you so much. It's late on a school night, and I appreciate you sharing, having courage to be so open and share your thoughts and feelings about how you've experienced ethnic studies. And I'm really glad it's have a positive impact. And I think Janine, you said ethnic studies saved my life. Like I keep hearing people say ethnic studies saved my life. And I am just convinced that it is very important that we, as Trustee Salahuddin just said, I keep following you and just quoting you afterward. We do need to have, we need it not to just live in an ethnic studies class. So Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a good rest of the night.
Thank you.
And if those are your parents in the office, in the audience, thank you. They did great. Thank you guys so much. Moving on to our action items. First is our adoption of the local criteria for the State Seal of Civic Engagement. Deputy Superintendent Baca.
Hello again. So the State Seal of Civic Engagement serves as recognition for students who have excelled in civics education and participation. It signifies their understanding of the United States Constitution, the California Institution, and the democratic system of government. To qualify for this recognition, local criteria must be developed and align with the overarching criteria outlined by the California Department of Education. So tonight, we ask that you approve this criteria after a brief presentation from Ms. Yaldin and Mr. Kuby.
All right, so good evening again. My name is Esther Ziaman. I did introduce myself, so I'll have my co-presenter introduce himself.
My name is Adam Kuby. I am currently the vice principal at Jefferson High School.
Okay, so we'll just start off a little bit more briefly about what the State Seal of Civic Engagement is. So in 2017, Assembly Bill 24 instructed the California Department of Education to develop a set of criteria to award students who have demonstrated excellence in civic education. So now California Ed Code Section 51470 states that it's the intent of the legislature to establish a State Seal of Civic Engagement to encourage and create pathways for pupils in elementary and secondary schools to become civically engaged in democratic governmental institutions at the local, state, and national levels. This is actually the culmination of over 15 years of work at the state level to increase voter turnout. It's a nonpartisan seal encouraging students across the state to exercise analytical skills in society.
This work has been done for a lot of years, really pioneered by two civic engagement folks within our government here in California and nationwide. The Chief Justice of the California Supreme Court, Justice Kantil Sako Yue, she really pioneered a lot of this work in her job as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court here in California. And the late Sandra Day O'Connor really pushed this work forward as a federal judge in the Supreme Court, but also from California. As Ms. Z said, it's been working. It's been a project for over 15 years, and it's been very nonpartisan in the fact that these two landmark politicians work to increase civic engagement statewide. So what the State Seal of Civic Engagement is a physical seal that goes on a diploma for students. They can do projects within their 11th and 12th grade years that would earn them the seal. It's aligned to the new California History and Social Science framework that is really interdisciplinary in nature. And it really gets students to get involved in solving community problems and being activists within their community to maybe change makers. We use some examples here of work that students have done within JUHSD over the years that would qualify them for the State Seal of Civic Engagement. In 2020, some students at Jefferson High School, along with students from Westmore, Oceana, Terra Nova, did a virtual town hall meeting where they got politicians, propositions, and other elected officials from both sides of the party to run a civic engagement town hall to get people to be knowledgeable about what was on the ballot and to go out and vote in the 2020 election. Another example, many of you guys came to my classroom years ago when I was a teacher at Jefferson High School, and students would give speeches, what were called soapbox speeches, were really about the issues that they felt that should be addressed within their community and that they felt were really important to them. You saw many students come up here tonight speaking about things that they're passionate about, and we want students to practice those skills within their classrooms and be welcomed to speak about issues that are really important to them and that think that need to be addressed civically. Lastly, many of you guys are involved in the Daly City food bank that is hosted at Jefferson High School. Many students over the years have brought that as one of their civic projects to really address a community need as far as food insecurity, taking a project that's already out there and how do they bring that into the classroom, bring that into their clubs, bring that into their community and address that need in a way that shows their civic skills and civic ability.
And so before I go on to the process step, I just wanted to reiterate what Mr. Cubey was explaining, that students are already doing this sort of work. So students are civically engaged and have been. And so the seal is recognizing that they're doing this work, in addition to providing more opportunities for students to access civic engagement activities at their school sites or outside of it. So now I'll go over the process for coming up with our local criteria for JUHSD. We're going to present 5 criteria that we have come up with to award our students with the State Seal of Civic Engagement. And so most of our work spanned this year. We actually had a committee where there was at least one teacher from every single school site represented, as well as 1 to 2 admin. And so those representatives met for a full release day in fall, and then also another full release day in spring, with certain meetings I might have mediated in between. So I may have met individually. And so we partnered with the History and Civics Project at UC Santa Cruz. And so in September 2023, Daisy Martin, a professor at UC Santa Cruz, began our process by facilitating conversations where we could actually clearly understand the characteristics and really wrap our head around what the State Seal of Civic Engagement was. Then she actually exposed us to local criteria other districts created, including places such as Salinas Union High School District, Fresno Unified, Sacramento City Unified, Fremont Union, and more. A couple of us from the committee in the fall shared what we were working on with the Student Advisory Council in November 2023. So we collected some of their initial ideas, questions, and then feedback about our process as well. Now in the spring, we met this past March. We continued analyzing the local criteria that other districts created in order to develop our own JUHSD. The committee felt that our criteria should be accessible for all students and remain flexible for each school site to adapt as they see fit. We incorporated the perspectives from the Student Advisory Council that we had gathered. And I'm happy to say that we do have a final draft of our own local criteria affirmed by all 5 of our school sites. We are hoping to gain the board's approval tonight on those 5 local criteria. And so I'll go ahead and start explaining the criteria that we came up with. In the following slides, you'll notice some statements are in italics. And so those are the statements coming directly from the California Department of Ed. They have certain language around this. The statements below that are non-italicized are the ones that we developed, so they would apply to our students particularly. And so these are the first 2 out of the 5. And so we have decided for both criteria 1 and 2, in order for them to be engaged in academic work in a productive way, they're on track to graduate. For the second one, that they demonstrate a competent understanding of a variety of items, that the student is completing the required history, social science courses at their school site or equivalent with a passing grade. These 2 actually had very little debate, and the committee was aligned with the language that we came up with very early on.
Criteria 3 really talks about those projects where I gave you some examples of. Really, we want students to participate in 1 or more informed action civic engagement projects, which they're really connecting it to real world problems within their community and really getting them to exercise those civic skills that we want our citizens to do. One of which is identifying a real world problem. They would go into the community, look at things that need to be addressed, and identify that problem. Then they would investigate that, really doing some critical thinking and diving deep into those problems and understanding them and what causes them, root causes, and what are symptoms of those that real world problem. And then they explored responses through that. What responses have been done through history, what responses have not been done, and really then kind of strategize what things that they could do as civic change makers to address this and make a positive impact, and then take action. We really want students to apply the civic skills they're learning in their classroom and go out into the real world and do that, whether that is meeting with stakeholders like yourselves or organizing an event that really makes a change in that, and then reflecting on that work. How has it worked to solve that issue? And then going through that cycle all over again where they're really practicing those civic skills. So this criteria 3 really is project-based learning, but connecting civic skills to those projects.
When we come to the fourth criteria, this really centers on student reflection. It was mentioned in that third criteria, but this one expands on it. And so the self-reflection may be illustrated through written, oral, video, or other media formats that aligns to our goal of it being very accessible to all students and flexible. The bullet points that are listed actually here below the criteria may guide a student's reflection, and teachers, educators, anyone that is facilitating one of these civic engagement projects can use any of the bullet points, but are not limited to these. So they can come up with their own. So this is more of a starting place where educators can think about how to guide their students' reflection. And some of the language of the bullet points, about 4 of the bullet points or so, comes from the California Department of Education. They had some topics that a lot of the teachers resonated with. 2 of the bullet points we actually had brainstormed in our own sessions, particularly the bullet point. They're both in the middle, so the 3rd and the 4th bullet points. How the student cultivated relationships within a community and how that mattered to the civic engagement activity. Some teachers really wanted to emphasize community building as something to reflect upon. And then that 4th one, the extent to which the student learned about how systems and structures in society work. This one actually relates a little bit to ethnic studies in the sense of perhaps this goal of having a civic engagement project can be very integrated and again, interdisciplinary in nature with not just social sciences, although this is technically in the California social science purview, but also in other subjects. So ethnic studies, also, I think things like science or perhaps other community action projects that, again, are happening in different departments or facilitated by teachers in a variety of departments. And so I won't read every single bullet point, but again, just know this is all language that might guide student reflection. Oh, you know what? This one's mine. Okay. And our last 5th criteria, this one centers on character traits exemplifying civic mindedness in the student. It states the evidence on these points may be supported by 1 or more recommendations from a peer, educator, mentor, local, state, or national official, or a non-familiar community member. Alternatively, completion of criteria 1 to 4 may also demonstrate student character traits. So this one, we had the option of having certain types of recommendations. Again, it can be done in a variety of ways from a variety of people. For the student, we were also thinking about the work that it would take to do recommendation letters for people such as teachers, department heads, people who I think are the advisors to maybe certain programs or clubs. And so we were trying to put in another option where perhaps whoever we do determine might be collecting the information on awarding the seal, could do a non-traditional approach of instead of writing an entire recommendation letter, there's some sort of template available. Maybe we're using Google Forms and there's certain sort of things we certify that students have fulfilled and completed. And so that's what the alternatively statement is trying to do, is increase that flexibility and hopefully also have a way that teachers or staff don't have too much extra workload with those rec letters.
Lastly, the potential impact of the state seal of civic engagement. I'm kind of toned down right now, but I'm gonna get excited about this because this really does excite us, and I think it excites our students. The increased student engagement, really, while they apply these skills, having seen them as a teacher and an educator working with them, and you guys yourselves in the picture there, they presented the school board years ago. You see students' engagement. You see them really applying their skills to real world problems. Increasing student voice. I think we saw a lot of our students here speaking. You guys spoke about that you want student voice. This increases student voice in their local community to be change makers. Building student agency and contributing to other positive outcomes. I think that with this work, you're going to see and have seen through this work, increase in student attendance. Students want to go to school. They want to be there to be a part of these projects, to be a part of these change makers. They're eager. You just heard that from the ethnic studies students. The discipline, they're not wanting to be destructive. They're wanting to be constructive with this work. They want to help build up positive changes, and issues will go down, and student discipline, positive discipline goes up. As overall wellness, when students are empowered, they feel like they have agency, they feel like they have voice, their wellness goes up because they feel like they're being heard. This connects with a lot of the other initiatives that our district is doing. Universal Design for Learning is one of those examples, giving students choice and how they show that they have these skills that is their class. And then you guys kind of mentioned vertical alignment of these skills. They're learning these skills from ethnic studies to world history to US history, and then U.S. government, but also horizontal alignment. They're taking skills from their environmental science class and what they're learning about climate change and connecting it to what they're learning about government and legislation, connecting it to what they're reading about in their English class. So you really see vertical and horizontal alignment where students really know what they're learning in one class transfers over to another. And then you're really rewarding them for that hard work with this seal that they get to take onto them with college and put on their diploma. So I'm really excited about the impact, but I know that this impact has already been in there because we've seen a lot of this work. I think if you look nationwide, when you see civic engagement work, students are really excited about that work and they're showing their abilities and skills to perform, which is helping them for college and career, which is another reason why this helps bolster their diploma.
Okay, thank you for listening to our presentation about the State Seal of Civic Engagement and those 5 local criteria we outlined. Just to also clarify, the outline of the 5 local criteria will be what is the district generated document, and then the schools will actually take that, apply it to their local context, refine further if needed, make the choices they'd like if they want to add any items, change any items to a certain degree. So in that way, again, we want to ensure that there's flexibility and adaptability to all the school sites. So again, please let us know if you need any question or if you need any clarifications or have any questions for us, and then we'll be happy to answer that. Thank you.
Thank you. Opening up for any questions or comments.
Thank you so much for your presentation. And I remember when you came to Student Advisory Council, they were really excited. They had so many questions for you. I mean, nonstop questions. So I'm thinking about the logistics of it. I like the criteria and that there's room for flexibility. But as the students asked, how and when do students learn about this? That this can eventually be something that can be on their diploma. This is something to strive for, and that they're mindful that if they're civically engaged, that this could be a reward. So how do we advertise that to the students?
Yeah, I think that it's connecting a lot of the things that they're already doing, whether it's Key Club, they're doing it in some of their classes. It's one, marketing to them that they can receive this seal if they meet these criteria and going through those criteria with them. I think it's working with their teachers to talk to their classes and saying, hey, we're doing these things in our class. This is going to be rewarding with the State Seal of Civic Engagement. And that's working with administrations at the district to really make sure that they're working with their counseling department to say, hey, as we're talking about other things that you can apply for, scholarships and other things, this is another factor. The College Board has also adopted a lot of this work through their WE service work. So AP classes could also be pitching civic engagement work through them, which they would actually be supported that way also. So it's one, going to the students, going to their teachers, and then going to the school sites and making sure that they have the information to start on these projects and criteria and then meet the criteria.
Mm-hmm. And then another thing I'll add to that, so thank you, Mr. QB, is that so going into this year, our main goal was actually to look at the other sample model. First of all, understand what this is as teachers, and then look at the other sample models, come up with our own JUHSD criteria. So in the future, we hope to continue our partnership with Daisy Martin from the UC Santa Cruz History Civics Project at UC Santa Cruz. She's worked a lot with either civic engagement projects herself or outlining some of these processes for other schools and implementation. And so we're hoping with some of her expertise, some of these ideas Mr. QB just shared, that hopefully next year would be that time period where logistics is the key focus. So this year, logistics is not quite the focus since we want to draft this and get this approved. And so I think that conversation will have to include, some expert guidance, someone that is going to be facilitating the space with that entity, and then also another essentially committee, I think, of people that probably include others outside of social science, because I think for this to really work, it should include some of those club advisors, probably should include other folks that will be kind of messaging this sort of information to their school sites. And so also more student input obviously would be valuable. So I think it will continue to be this sort of democratically informed, process for rollout and implementation, which I'm sure, just like ethnic studies, will probably take a few years. So to really see, it come to fruition.
So when were we hoping to enact this? I mean, like, is it possible for students to receive this next year?
Yeah, so if this is adopted, then yes, students can definitely, anyone who's already engaged with certain things can earn this for their diploma. And then I think the big conversation would be, okay, but students who are possibly not accessing this, so students who may not just be very active already, how do we actually encourage them or foster this sort of participation with those students and communities, right? So I think we can start next year, but then that whole idea of access will be really important to figure out how to expand it equitably.
Okay, thank you.
I know that this is in the LCAP for next year. Do we know roughly what percentage of students we think would actually qualify? Even if it was this year, we know roughly if this had been enacted previously, what kind of percentage we might have?
I have no clue.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no pulse on who would be able, perhaps a lot of students at Oceana because of their community service hours. And then some of the clubs at the school sites, like Key Club, also qualify.
Okay.
And student advisory council.
So we'd really just be setting our baseline next year. Okay. Great. Thank you so much. This is really great info, and I'm pretty excited that we are going to be doing this.
Any other comments?
I just had a question, just as far as the community involvement part, like how would, say, these students that are looking to get involved in something in the community, how do they go about engaging with that entity? Is it important to make the community aware that we're trying to implement a program at our school district to engage? I mean, and then who kind of proctors that? Who oversees to make sure that, what they're doing is what we're aiming for and all that good stuff?
I think just because we haven't outlined it, I think, unfortunately, it's going to not be a great answer. It's what Ms. Tejada was kind of asking before. Our focus hasn't been on the logistics as of yet, since we were trying to outline and understand what this deal was essentially this year. So I think we'd have to think through that process and figure out how to tap into certain community resources and who to actually even partner with more. But I would think that, places that can already begin are particular teachers that are doing some activities such as the ones Mr. QB had shared in their classes. So those could be really strong teachers to begin piloting something with, or perhaps, again, those advisors and clubs that are already going out in the community, or perhaps doing something even at school. It doesn't have to be out in Daly City, Pacifica, Brisbane, et cetera. It could be within the school too. And that could be a way to contribute, or rather, certain subjects, again, environmental science was mentioned, government was mentioned, ethnic studies was mentioned. Some of those teachers might be doing some sort of project that is civic engagement oriented or something to do with educating the rest of the student population, or, anything like that, I think could also qualify. So we have not recognized particularly, like there's no short list. I don't think there's really names I can give you, but I think we have an idea where we can start, and then it will have to be more discussion as to how it really looks.
Just to add on to that, in the past, we've partnered with Second Harvest Food Bank, right? Second Harvest Food Bank contacts the school saying we have a project, we're interested in expanding. The students meet that. What we did previously was around housing development. We reached out to the housing project. So I think it's both. The students are looking for partners to partner with their projects, as well as organizations that are looking to help support students in these projects that they're working on, are contacting the teacher, the school. So it's really putting those together to ensure that the students are engaged in their projects and finding those partner organizations or local groups or government agencies or school boards to support those projects that they're working on.
Thank you.
I'm very excited about this. I get excited about this too, Mr. Gibby. And I'm happy that we're implementing it. Civic engagement is something I'm very passionate about. I think we, as a society, taking our civil liberties for granted and not utilizing them to their fullest extent. So when you look at voter turnout, when you look at engagement, just in, especially not just voter turnout, but not just voting for the president, like voting down ballot, participation in the community, participation in local governments. These are all things that we have done with students. And they've been hugely impactful when they show up. You know, I still remember Ms. Villa was, and, you know, our lunch program changed because students did a project at school and then came here, presented, and we changed our lunch program. So they all should have won a seal because that was like a monumental way. Yeah. So it's not just letting them know of the opportunities, but also when they do those things, alerting them that that is what civic engagement is. There's a misnomer. I think people confuse. They think you have to do this big thing. And a lot of students are participating in civic engagement every day and they have no idea. So when they do take those opportunities, when they do step up and speak out, you know, I've been to students doing things around the dress code here, school shootings, like they're very reactive and very engaged. And I want to, you know, reward those times when they step up and give them encouragement to continue that, to not stop once they leave us. So I'm excited to hear more and I'm grateful for the work that you've done to this point.
Again, it's 9:30. I'm not going to say a lot, but this is, I'm thrilled with the work you've done. Thank you so much. And I encourage us to pass these. Thank you. Thank you both.
All right. So unless there's any more comments, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Before we end, can I just say one thing?
Yeah, no, it's fine. Go ahead. Thank you so much.
Sorry. I just want to really say thank you to Ms. Yaudine, who led a lot of this work from the very, very beginning. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be where we are. She's one of the key folks in moving ethnic studies and this work forward. And I want to introduce Ms. Dr. Robinson.
Yay.
You know, I don't know how many of y'all know that Australia is taking a leave next year, which broke my heart. But you know, I understand she's going to go and explore great things. But you don't find Australians like very often. And the first time I met her and I saw her just working with the group of teachers, and somebody said it, I think it was Jordan, about you, that you have a strong back and an open heart, and that's how you lead. And I just appreciate you so much. And I know it's a late night, so I won't ramble on, but just thank you.
Oh, so much.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm happy that you're taking a leave because you deserve a break, but
less stress. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we are definitely going to miss you. We are definitely going to miss you. Thank you so much for everything you've done to get us to this point. Okay, moving on to item B1, declaration of need for fully qualified educators. Ms. Lujan.
Good evening, everyone.
Motion to approve.
I will run with that. It is an annual item. Sorry.
I'm joking.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
It'll happen.
So the Declaration of Need comes up annually. It's a document that we bring forward every year because on occasion it is necessary to assign teachers to instruct subjects that are not authorized by their credential. Approval of this item allows us to authorize folks to teach dangling sections and whatnot to ensure that our master schedule works with the staff that we have available.
All right. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next up is job description update for Wellness Counselor 2, Ms. Lujan.
Hello, everyone. So this item you actually approved at the last meeting. And right after we approved a beautiful new job description, we realized that recruitment would be a lot better with a new job title. So I'm coming back to you with the exact same job description for school social worker, but it's now Wellness Counselor 2.
That sounds great. Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Moving on to business services, item 1, Public Safety Towers LLC site license agreement. Ms. Van Raphorst.
Thank you, President Salahuddin. Good evening, everyone. I bring to you this evening a lease agreement allowing Public Safety Towers to construct a new cell tower on district property above Oceana High School. This lease agreement is for a 10-year term, renewable up to 2 times for a total of 30 years. It starts out bringing in $48,000 a year in revenue and has a 3% annual increase. But more importantly, in my opinion, is that this tower will solve a serious problem for our community. As we heard during a past board meeting, there is currently insufficient cell coverage in the area for emergency personnel. This tower has technology that will be able to give priority to first responders in the event of an emergency. Mr. Barry Hutchings from the Western Fire Chiefs Association is here tonight to answer any questions you might have about the need for these emergency response features. Or you may just approve the agreement.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you so much to Mr. Hutchins and all the work that you did in the community outreach and making sure everyone understood this. So unless there's any questions, looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, you're moving on now for request for qualification, RFQ for short, for development of the Serramonte Del Rey neighborhood. Yay, Ms. Van Raphorst.
Thank you. For this item, I request that the board approve the proposed request for qualifications, which would allow us to hear from parties that may be interested in developing the property here at Serramonte Del Rey. If approved, the RFQ would be formally released on May 24th. Mr. Alan Katz from Brookwood Partners is here tonight to help me answer any questions you might have, or again, you may just move to approve it.
Anyone have any questions?
No, I'm just grateful we are at this day. So much.
Word. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Let's go. Okay. Yay. Thank you so much. Moving on to our public hearing and action for resolution 2023/24-15, increasing school facilities fees and authorized by the government code. Ms. Van Raphorst.
Thank you. School facilities fees are paid to school districts when there's new construction within our school boundaries. So the state allocation board meets periodically to increase the fees. They have done so, and we would like to increase the fees locally to match what is allowable. The fee study that is presented here supports that recommendation. And so with that, I recommend that you open a public hearing and follow that by approving the resolution.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Opening the public hearing. Are there any comments? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Call for a motion on the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you so much. Moving on to resolution 2023-24/16, Maintenance Assessment District intent to continue assessments and engineers report approval. Ms. Van Raphorst.
So as this resolution states, the purpose of this resolution is to declare the district's intent to continue assessments for the 24-25 school year. If approved, the resolution would set a public hearing for June 4th, where you would then vote to continue the assessment. The Maintenance Assessment District generates about $350,000 annually for the school district.
Thank you so much. Unless there's any questions, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Next up, item 5, public hearing and action, resolution 2023-24/17, authorization of conveyance of a public utility easement to the Pacific Gas and Electric Company. Ms. Van Raphorst.
Thank you. Authorization to convey this easement for PG&E would allow electrical service to be provided to our new district office and adult school. This resolution requires a public hearing, and it also requires at least 2/3 of the board to support it.
Perfect. Thank you. Opening up public hearing. Call for comments. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Move or ask for a resolution. Thank you. Can I get a second? Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do you need a voice point for 2/3? I think you should do a roll call.
Sure.
Yeah, let's do a roll call because it's 2/3.
Trustee Tahada,
Aye.
Trustee Lee,
Aye.
Trustee Walker,
Aye.
Vice President Gagos,
Aye.
President Salahuddin.
Aye. Thank you. I don't want you to have to do this again. All right, moving on to public hearing and action resolution 2023-24/18, ordering an election on the question of levying an education parcel tax for November 2024. Ms. Van Raphorst.
Thank you. The district currently has a $60 parcel tax that will be expiring in 2026. This last item that I have for you this evening is to consider whether or not to place a parcel tax measure on the November 2024 election to backfill this expiring parcel tax. Before adopting one of the proposed resolutions, we must open the floor to public hearing. Then the board needs to designate an amount for the proposed parcel tax. Mr. Joe Crump from Dale Scott's office is here to help me if you have any questions that I might not know the answer to.
Perfect. Thank you. Open up to public hearing for comments. All right. Seeing no comments, closing the public hearing. Great. And then I know we've had discussion about this at our work study where we reviewed the budget. So I don't know if anyone has has any questions. If not, can I get a motion?
We need to pick a number, right?
Yes.
I move that we accept the parcel tax of $95.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Moving on to consideration of future agenda items. Are there any items that anyone would like to add to an agenda, to the future agenda? No? Okay, perfect. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
Yay.